Ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise for the playing of
the Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast
with your host, the 2023 IBWAA Podcast Host of the Year, Jana, and her big brother, Jeff. Welcome back to the Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast. Happy to have you here, and hope this has become a habit for you. All 176 plus episodes. As always, to my right, by about 800 miles, is Jana.
Hello.
And as always, you can find us on our social media, Twitter and Blue Sky, Sibling Rivalry BB without the A.
And on Instagram and Facebook at Sibling Rivalry BB with the A.
And on our website, siblingrivalrybb.com. Check out the Fanatics link and get yourself some cool new gear, especially since we're right on the edge of the NFL season starting up, college football starting up, and ton to watch. Big news to share in around baseball. And at this time of year, teams like the Angels, the Rockies, the Pirates, the Marlins, the A's, this is something to get excited about. So we'll talk about that. We also have a Little League World Series champion. We'll talk about that all in around baseball. But first, it's time to check and see what happened with the Angels. All right, so the Angels, we know, swept the Dodgers. They almost got swept by the A's. And then they went home to take on a couple of teams that are both in playoff races, both from the NL Central. They had the Reds, and then they had the Cubbies. And for Mike Trout, it was a tale of two series. They came back home, like I said, after they almost got swept by the A's, to take on the Reds, who, you know, at that time they're right there in the wild card race, and they don't get swept.
Right. So is that a good thing?
Well, I don't know if it matters or not.
Yeah, maybe at this point.
At one point in the season, they were playing like real close to 500 all the time. And they were always like one game away. And then they'd get there and it was like the next game, they'll hit 500 if they win.
They didn't.
And they just could never get over that. And they haven't really, since the Dodgers, that was the highlight.
Yeah.
And they didn't carry
Those
on.
were the most meaningful games.
Yeah. And honestly, playing the Reds and the Cubs could have been meaningful games too, because they really could have put more for the Reds than the Cubs, but they really could have caused an issue.
Yeah.
But they didn't.
No. I mean, in the first game, they lost 4-1. Not really a lot to write home about in that game. I mean, really, right?
No.
They score one run. The second game, closer, 6-4, but really in this game, it was all Hunter Green, 12 strikeouts.
Right.
And it was like, was it his first or second time on the mound coming back from the...
I think it was his second.
IL, yeah. So, yeah, I mean...
Yeah, so...
And when you watch him pitch, he's like 6'8". He's intimidating.
Yeah, he is a South LA kid, came from Compton, actually.
Yeah.
And, so he's back home, not too far from in Anaheim. You're not too far from Compton, closer to Compton and out of Anaheim than you are. I mean, really out of Dodger Stadium. They're about the same, I guess. But
well, I mean, I don't know that the Reds would part with him at any point. He does look good in red, so that could be,
Yeah, I don't
he's
really
coming
think
to
they're
Anaheim
gonna.
anytime soon.
No, he's not gonna. But he's really come around to be. At first you're like, okay, a lot of hype for him, and
Mm-hmm.
then you're like, well, let's see, a little bit of injury issue, but he's really been on top of it this year. I mean, you think about Hunter Green and that he's got a 2.63 ERA after that game, and went six and 6 1/3.
Yeah.
So
And in this game, Joe Adell, 2 home runs.
mhm.
So,
Joe Adell setting records, uh, personal records as far as home runs goes. That would be number 28 between the two. Got him up to that. So, I mean, he's been helping. They've been losing. He still seems to contribute. Him and Zach Neto.
mhm.
What I like is that we saw with Joe Adell that early on he kind of had that arrogance level, and he got it kind of beat out of him from just bad play and that. And he seems to have finally humbled himself a bit, and he seems to be in a better spot.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think so too, watching him play. I mean, there's moments where you see that old side coming out,
mhm.
like when he got last week, we talked about, he got, oh no, is it during the Dodger series, right? Well, so, yeah, that he got ejected from the game. If he would have just kept his head down, muttered to himself, he had been fine.
Yep.
But he had to say it out loud and point. And
Yep.
that was a very much a early Joe Adell. She was at AD Joe Adell and I don't know. Or BC Joe Adell, right? That would be, and then AD Joe Adell.
Or uh, BA
B
before arrogance, or
I like
DA during arrogance,
against
after AA after
AA.
arrogance.
We went into AA. But for arrogance, not for
Right.
anything else.
My name's Joe, and I'm an arrogantaholic.
Hi, Joe.
All right. So in the Cincinnati series,
I'm sorry. What would be the 12 steps?
I that's a good question.
We might have to think about that one.
Yeah, that one we'll have to come up with. Um, Mike Trout during Cincinnati series was on fire. Hit 500. Was
Mm-hmm.
5 for 10 there. Um, no home runs.
I know. Why is it so elusive?
I don't know. He's not been, um, in this series, I would have thought maybe based on the fact that he hit 500, couple of walks. Um, he only had 3 strikeouts, so one double. So even though he hit, he didn't hit for power or anything. But he
Right.
did
But
hit.
I think that's what you expect with Mike Trout. At least early Mike Trout, maybe not as he's getting older, but
Well, you would think that he would be able to. It's been figure by the end of the weekend after playing with the Cubs, he's gone 15 games without hitting a home run. So that gives that away. He didn't hit any home runs versus the Cubs either.
yeah.
Um, so they thanks to home run from Jan Moncada and then Bryce Teodosio scoring a run. They driven in by Luis Rengifo. The Angels are able to win 2-1 to
Yeah.
wrap
In that
the red
final game,
series.
and I think Kikuchi had a good game. I mean, 7 innings. I mean, he gave up 7 hits, but only the 1 run. 4 strikeouts. I mean, but that's those 7 innings. That's huge, for any
Oh
team.
yeah, no, it was he definitely was great in that, making up for a couple of other subpar outings. So then they get the day off because they get every Thursday off in August, which is almost over. They'll even have this week. So today they're off,
Mm-hmm.
even though they have a 4-game series coming up. We'll talk about that in a minute. But they get the Cubs coming to town. The Cubs are the number one wild card team, up a game on the second place wild card team, which who knows who that is? That could be the Dodgers, it could be the Padres, it could be
No,
both.
don't know.
No idea. But one or the other is there. And so the Cubs come in. These are all important games for them. They want to maintain their spot. And Angel Killer in the past, now with the Cubs, has his way with them too. Coming into the series, Kyle Tucker had 25 home runs versus the Angels at Anaheim. And yeah, he did a few more.
He did a few more. And interestingly enough, this was interesting to me. So we talked about how he had been booed by Cub fans because he wasn't running out, ground balls, and he was just they just didn't like what he was doing. Then the Brewers manager, that Pat Murphy, comes out and says, "Oh yeah, he had an injury. Like he had an injury with his hand." Then I'm like, how does he know? And then later, Craig Counsell's like, "Oh yeah, he had a hairline fracture in his hand," and it was from like June or early July or something crazy. So I'm like, how does the Brewers know? And then Tucker, is he got something going on where he might be a Brewer next year? I don't know. He was.
Yeah, we'll see. Who knows?
I just thought that was interesting that a manager of another team
Right.
says, "Oh yeah, by the way."
Maybe he does want to go up there because he's hoping that they'll have another 12-game win streak. And then he'll be able to visit any one of the 23
Yes.
George Webb locations.
George Webb locations. I want to go to Milwaukee just for the George Webb.
Did
just
you
to go
reach out to them yet to find out what will happen if?
I do have an inquiry in, so we'll see. I will keep you posted.
All right. I look forward to hearing about that. In the meantime, the Cubs, which
get off on the Kyle Tucker,
will not be overtaking the Brewers at this point, I don't think. I mean, the Brewers could fall apart. I mean, they did go after they got to 13. They weren't able to get the 14th win, and then they kind of went on a little losing streak. Not that has anything to do with the Angels at this point, but
no. But the Angels could have,
they could
played
have
a spoiler.
Well, they could have played a spoiler and helped, some of their Western, teams out, the Dodgers or the Dregs.
Mm-hmm.
And, but, alas, they get that, or the Mets even.
Yeah.
Who would, I think they're the third team. So in fact, let me confirm that because I'm just thinking about it. Yeah, it's the Mets. So it's the Cubs, an NL West team, and the Mets. And they could have given the other two teams something to do, like towards moving up, had they beaten the Cubs. They lose the first game 3-2. Kyle Tucker with a home run. Pico
Pico Armstrong.
with a home run as well. And this game, even though they lost, it was Yohan Moncada's game. 2 home runs.
Yeah. 2 for 4 in that game. Both home runs.
Yep. And so he was the one that provided everything offensively for him. Tyler Anderson goes 5, gives up 2 runs on 3 hits, and it's Kenley Jansen who takes the L when he ends up giving up a run in the ninth, and that is it for to start game 2. It was at 1.6-0, and then thanks to Joe Adell, he cut into a lead, cut it down to 11. As the Cubs win that one 12-1. He had a late home run in the 7th inning, and that would be the end of it. His 29th of the season. Everybody else, 5 total hits. 2 of them were from Joe, and pretty much everybody else was quiet.
Yeah, non-existent. And Maderos, who pitched against the Dodgers and looked good, he goes 4 innings and gave up 6 runs. And then Fulmer comes in and gives up 6 runs in an inning and a third. 6 runs in an inning and a third.
It was, it was just ugly. So not much happened there unless you're looking at the Cubs. 2 home runs from Kyle Tucker.
Yes, that's right.
A home run from Reese McGuire. And as I recall, Reese's was a grand slam. So that didn't help.
No.
So, hey, the Cubs win the series, but that doesn't mean that the brooms are going to come out. It doesn't mean they won't, but they could. Angels get on the board early, score 1, and then another 2 in the 6th. Problem is that in between that, in the 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th, the Cubs grab 4 runs. No home runs from Kyle Tucker, but he got on base, scored a run, 2 walks in all of that, and they, like I said, the Cubs get 4 runs on 8 hits, and they sweep the Angels. They went up against former teammate Kyle Hendricks, who just made it 4 1/3, gave up 4 runs on 5 hits, walked 3, only struck out 2. No home runs given up in this game. Only 1 home run, and that would be Taylor Ward, who set a personal best of 30 home runs on the season.
Nice.
And then when I said it was a tale of 2 series,
yes,
it really truly was the best of times and the worst of times. Mike Trout, 0 for the series.
Yeah, over. That's, not at least 1 hit, and could the 1 hit be the home run?
Right, would have taken him to 399. He could have sat there for a little bit. 1 walk, 7 strikeouts.
Wow.
There's a stat that's BABIP, batting average balls in play. And so that does, whether it's hit, as long as it's hit out there, even if it's an out, what's the average of what he hit? 0.
Mm-hmm.
Because he didn't hit anything. So, yeah, so that's it. Angels pretty much where they are at the end of the weekend. 8 games under 500, and really, they're what is that? The old, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. really is true. Here they went 2 steps back and then 1 step forward. But before that, it was the same thing. So 3 series in a row, they've lost. They're 3 wins, 6 losses, and but this is what I expect. It's not, the things that we got to watch for now really are the silver linings. What are these guys doing? Are they getting better? Zach Neto seems to be getting better. If he continues to play well,
Mm-hmm.
he'll be an all-star at some point. We'll see. And I think the best thing he's got going for him now is a lot of people don't really realize how aggressive and talented he is. The question will be, will he get in his own way?
Yeah. Yeah, I
You know,
hope not, because he is a good player.
you
So
know,
maybe he can
if
go
you're going
to
to look
some
at, and I mean, he's hit 20 plus home runs now,
yeah.
so he's right there. Nolan Shanuel, he seems to be a little more humble. But some issues for him, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. The Angels headed to, after they were done, they headed to Arlington to take on the Rangers for 3 at the Grill. And then they get today off. And then they have a wraparound series down in Houston. They'll be playing through Labor Day. So they got the Friday through Monday series. One thing we can talk about that was kind of cool, when they showed up in Dallas or in Arlington, they had a visitor.
Yeah, Ron Washington. The last time I saw Ron Washington, he was in Anaheim, not in the dugout, just I think in a box. He was eating some
He
food.
was a mime.
He was he was in a box. He was in like one of the club boxes, whatever. And yeah, found out because he's on medical leave. So he's out of the dugout, and he had quadruple bypass surgery.
Yes.
Quadruple. So he said he's feeling good. He misses baseball. Is hoping to be cleared by probably December. He's eating better, he said, and he stopped smoking.
Good things, especially
Yes.
the smoking thing. Yeah, he lives in New Orleans and came up, and I guess his plan is he won't be in the dugout, but to be around the team for this last 30 some odd games.
Yeah.
And he said after 8 weeks he would be able to start doing some light work, and his light work was going to Arlington to visit the team. So
Yeah.
we'll talk about that series. I can tell you, uh, you could see the players were very excited to see him. And he said, if Perry will have me back, I'd like to manage again next year.
Well, I think that they were getting more cohesive, and he was really a big part of that. He did some things in the clubhouse, no cell phones, no, we're going to talk, you know, we're going to get to know each other. I think there were, and then it was like, oh, he's, medical issues and didn't really know what was going on. And so, yeah, and then the Angels, obviously, as we talked about, been back and forth. So maybe with Wash being around, give him some guidance that'll help him in this last month.
Yeah. If he can do that, that may carry over to next year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I said before, it took him like 3 seasons to get the Rangers in place where they ended up going to back World Series.
Right.
And you were seeing those days that they were right there close to 500 were the days he was there. He left in like mid-June.
Mm-hmm.
And since they've been gone, with the exception of, sweeping the Dodgers and a couple of other good series. Beating the Phillies in the series.
Right.
They really haven't. They've pretty much been just constantly uh, at that below average, and a lot of it's the pitching. Um, you know, the offense has been overall been okay, but we've got Logan O'Hoppe not playing great. He's defensively he's had his issues. Offensively, he's definitely really the two consistent players have been Zetto and Nolan Ryan Shanuel have been the two most consistent players. And then these other guys, Joe Adell has had his ups and downs, but he's right there in that top three. He's doing stuff. Taylor Ward is probably the best season he's had. These guys have all been playing well, but Mike Trout, you figure 500 and then nothing. He ended up 5 for 20
I know. That's so on Mike
in 6
Trout like.
games. Yeah. So we'll see if he ever gets. I mean, eventually he might. I always have this feeling like Mike Trout's got this. He's got a Rendon feel to him. That
Yeah.
I feel like he doesn't really want to play.
Well, I mean, he does have his golf course and maybe golf courses. Maybe there's some more in the future.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, he kind of has
Couple of
the
kids now.
Rendonitis. Rendonitis.
Yeah, him and Chris Bryant.
Yeah, Chris Bryant for sure.
So yeah, who knows what's coming? But I had kind of thought maybe because he's got 20 home runs. I thought maybe he'd get to 400 and that would maybe motivate him a little more to keep going. But it just feels like I don't feel like he's really wants to carry on. And
Yeah,
lucky for the Angels, because they could have been buying for the worst, the worst in the league. I mean, the Rockies will get there, but what it looks like the Rockies aren't going to break the White Sox record. So
yeah, I don't think so.
Well, we'll talk a little bit about the Rockies coming up here in a second. Do you have a player of the week?
Yeah, I went with Joe Adell. I was looking through, and I just feel like he, out of all of the players, obviously there's Taylor Ward and Zetto, of course, but I feel like he was just looking over these series. He was the most consistent. He was getting things done, even in those tough losses. Even in the 12-1 loss, he was the one that got the one run.
The one.
The one.
He was the one. That's where I was going to go to, was Joe Adell. So very cool. Joe Adell with that. And then, like I said, Rangers and Asterix on the road, and then Kansas City.
Oh, yeah. So I was just going to say, spending time in Texas, barbecue in Texas, and then barbecue in KC. So
and from what I see, Washington, Wash is going to go down to Houston with them, and then, but he's not going to Kansas City.
Yeah, it was probably smart.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
And after a sweep of the Padres, the Dodgers hit the road and went up to Colorado, went to Denver. And I don't know why, but I kept thinking this was a 3-game series. And it was a 4-game series. And honestly, I don't even know if we need to talk about the series. I think we need to talk about what is it going to take to get the Dodgers back on track.
I don't know. So
if this had been a 3-game series, they would have lost.
Yeah, they would have lost. And Dodger fans would, they split the series, but even that, like, it's the Rockies. And I think in the first game, the Rockies walked it off. Warming Bernabel, it's like the best name, Warming. walked it off. But the big thing, Yamamoto pitched 7 innings. He looked good.
Yeah, they wasted his outing.
Oh, right, again. But I think the biggest thing was Teoscar Hernandez and his defense in right field. Just was not there. Didn't look good. And Dave Roberts is like, he's got to do better. And then after this game, there were reports Mookie Betts was meeting with Dave Roberts and Andrew Friedman, and nobody knew what he was meeting about. And everybody's like, oh, maybe he's going to say, hey, I'll go to right field. We'll move Teoscar back to left. And then it was, no, he was just going in to tell him that his swing is feeling better. He's feeling better at the plate. But I feel like it was almost kind of staged in a way. That, I mean, I guess players go in and talk to managers all the time. But
Yeah.
it was, and maybe it wasn't staged, but it just seemed artificial because it happened right after this loss and Teoscar's defense.
Well, maybe he went in and said, "Do you want me to work with Teoscar?"
Yeah, he could have. Yeah, and
Or
he could
maybe
have
he
very
said,
well said that.
If you need me to move out there, I'm willing to go. I don't want to, but I'm willing to go.
Well, and Mookie, they asked him about it, and he's like, it's people spreading rumors. They just want to spread
Yeah.
rumors.
Well,
But I think, there's a lot of people
it's
who
not
have,
just spreading rumors. It's trying to get some hope
yeah,
that something good is going to happen. They're going to be like all Oral Roberts. Something good is going to happen to you.
that's right. Well, and I think, yeah, that's exactly right, because that has been a narrative, I think, throughout the season with Mookie Betts. When he wasn't doing great at the plate, move him to right field. Maybe that'll help. And as shortstop, I mean, he's really made some really good, some spectacular plays. But when you lose against the Rockies in that first game, you're like, maybe there is something to him meeting with Dave Roberts. I don't know. The second game, just in Dodger fashion, they went 11-4. Everybody had a hit in the game except for Alex Freeland, who pinch hit for Buddy Kennedy, who you're like, okay,
Actually had a hit.
who actually had a hit. Yeah. So that's crazy. And Shohei hit his 44th home run of the season. Alex Call, who was a pickup at the trade deadline, was 4 for 5. He had a home run. So, I think a game that not just Dodger fans, I think just baseball fans would expect from the Dodgers. Then they go to the next game and Shohei's on the mound. They lose 8-3. Shohei doesn't look, he pitched 4 innings, doesn't look good. He gave up 9 hits, 5 runs. Didn't give up a home run, but, Tanner Gordon, who pitched for the Rockies, he 6 innings and only gave up 4 hits and only 1 run. But yeah, I mean, it's like Teo had a home run in this game. Miguel Rojas was 2 for 4 in this game. But the Dodgers had 6 hits and the 3 runs. That was it, 6 hits. And I think that's the thing is like, what's happened to the offense? Because you see the bottom of the lineup is getting hits, but it's that top of the lineup that you expect to get the hits, and they're not. I mean, Otani had a double in the game, but everybody else was, Will Smith, who had been great. I mean, looked like maybe he was even on the road to maybe a batting title. Has kind of, has fallen off at the plate. And it's frustrating, but for him, obviously, to be where he was and now he's not hitting. But you're just like, what's going on? Like, how did they forget to hit? What's happening here? And I think that, was it Tanner? I think it was Tanner Gordon who came into the game with like a 7 ERA. And he, handles the Dodgers pretty handedly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So then you go to the last game of the series. Kershaw's on the mound. It's Otani's rest day. Dave Roberts said he's getting a break. I told him to sleep in, which, we all know, we've heard he sleeps like at least 12 plus hours a night. And they win. The Dodgers win 9-5. Kershaw, day, 5 2/3 innings, 6 hits, gives up 3 runs, had 3 strikeouts. But Freddie Freeman had a home run in this game. Andy Pages, who had been really good, really hot, and then had a little bit of, just a small, I guess, where he was not hitting as well, but just a small sample. And then he was 2 for 4 in this game. Even Mookie Betts was 2 for 3. He had 2 walks in this game. So maybe he was right. He went and told Dave Roberts, hey, look, my swing feels better. So they come out of Colorado with a split with the Rockies, and they go to San Diego. San Diego's hard. It's a hard ballpark to play in. It was, I don't know how many that stadium holds, but it was filled to the rafters. I think there were people on top of that Western building. I don't think they're supposed to be, but they were just everywhere. So you're thinking, all right, you got to win in Colorado, go to San Diego, and you're in this pennant race where you had the opportunity to put some games, get some games ahead with the Rockies series, but they didn't do that at all. So Blake Snell's on the mound. He looked to pitch 7 innings, gave up 6 hits, 2 runs, and the Dodgers lose
outing
2-1. Yu Darvish, 6 innings, gave up, 1 hit, 1 run. Alex Friedland had his first career home run. That was the lone run for the Dodgers. So like, okay, 2-1. All right, low scoring game. We'll see what happens. The next night, Nestor Cortez. Everyone's like, Nestor Cortez, it's the, rematch from the World Series, Freddie Freeman, where Freddie Freeman almost got a home run. Almost. But that wall back in San Diego is short for a reason. But Nestor Cortez, 6 innings, 1 hit, no walks, no runs, no walks, 3 strikeouts. But I think at one point, didn't he have a perfect game?
He did, up until that base hit.
Yeah, up until the base hit.
That was Miguel Rojas.
Yeah, Miguel
got
Rojas.
The single off of him, and that's when they started looking to get him out of there.
Yeah. The bullpen, their bullpen started warming up, and but yeah, the Dodgers had 2 hits in this game, and once again, Alex Friedland provided the 1 run in this game because they lost 5-1 with his second career home run.
So 2 nights in a row, Freeland provides the offense.
Mm-hmm.
2 nights in a row, late in the game. So you figure he had a perfect game going into the 6th,
Mm-hmm.
gives up the hit, and that's it. He finishes up the 6th, and then he's out. The night before, the Dodgers managed 1 hit
Mm-hmm.
for most of the game. It wasn't until the 9th that they got the other 2 hits. So in 2 games, they had 5 hits, 2 runs, both provided by the same guy.
Yeah.
So they got the 1 hit in the 3rd the night before, and it wasn't again until the 9th when Mookie Betts got a hit, and then Freddie Freeman got a hit.
Yeah.
And then Will Smith couldn't do anything, which has been, the case lately.
Yeah.
Um, so there was nothing
There was nothing.
going on, and so you're finished with game 2.
Well, and before we, just as a stat, because I thought this was interesting. So Yu Darvish and Nestor Cortez both pitched 6 innings of 1-hit ball versus the Dodgers. This is the first time opposing starters have pitched 6 or more innings with 1 or no hits allowed versus the Dodgers since the Dodgers moved to LA in 1958.
Wow.
Yeah. And you had Glasnow on the mound for the Dodgers, and he goes 4 innings. It's like we can't have you in the rotation if you're going to go. That's about what he's been going, 4 innings, maybe 5.
He looked great for 3.
For 3, but there's something off about him. I think there's sometimes I watch him and I'm like, oh, he looks good, and then he starts to look uncomfortable. And I don't know if some of that is that he gets in his head, and he's trying to like aim the ball. I don't know what it is, but I knew that after this game, I was like, I don't want to hear we need to play better. Well, duh. Everybody knows that. And then Tyler Glasnow did say, hey, this was on me. I gave up those, if I hadn't given up those 3 runs, if I had gone longer into the game, been able to pitch longer. But I don't know. I mean, I obviously am not a ball player. I know playing baseball is hard. It's probably out of, it's tough to hit a ball when you've got pitchers that are throwing majority, at least, 100 miles per hour a lot of times. But it just is interesting that sometimes it feels like, did they forget how to hit? Like, what's different about with, they've seen this pitcher before. What's going on with the Dodgers that they just can't, they're not consistent in their play. And again, that's the Dodger
That's why I said,
fans.
does it matter what happened in the games? No, because
No.
we got to figure out how do they get past this? This is the last series of the season versus the Padres.
Right.
So they have to it's going to get a little easier for them. They have one more trip kind of to the East Coast. They have to go to Baltimore, and I don't remember where else, but there's 2 on the same trip. And then when they come back, even if they're on the road, they're not off the West Coast. So
Right.
they're playing at home or they're playing the Giants. I think they got the D-backs. They finish up in Seattle. So they've got it's going to be easy to kind of settle in at home, and maybe that'll help make them more comfortable, or maybe they won't care.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, at home, they've played a lot better. They're under
Yeah.
500 on the road. They're
Mhm.
well over 500 at home.
Yeah.
And, at this point, they're now, after this loss, they're a game out of first place,
Mm-hmm.
which, when you think about it, isn't that big of a deal.
No, because there's a lot of baseball left to be played.
Right. And that's what they keep saying, but there doesn't seem to be any urgency.
Right.
to
And
them
that's
saying we can't, if we don't do this now, it's easy to, um, for the Padres to turn it up and move ahead if they don't play more consistent and more fundamentally sound baseball.
right.
So Sunday, last game of the series and the last game of the season for these two teams to season series that is. And you've got Nick Pivetta, who has pitched really well for the Dregs, going
Hmm.
up against Yoshi. Which where are we on the roller coaster with Yoshi?
Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing. You just aren't always sure what you're going to get with him. And if he's going to be able to go, when he's on, he's going that 7 innings. When he's, off, it's like, well, I mean, in this game, he gave up, he pitched 6 innings, gave up 4 hits and 2 runs, 2 walks, had 6 strikeouts. The bullpen, who um, had been great, and then just not been bad. They actually were able to keep San Diego at 2, and Kirby Yates is back. Tanner Scott is back, which is big for the Dodgers for the bullpen. Shohei hit number 45 in this game. And
Funny
yeah,
moment with that. Shohei had been kind of getting heckled by
all
a
game.
Dregs fan all game long. Doc said something about it. A couple other guys in the dugout, they knew he was doing that. Shohei hits number 45, and before he goes in to get the sunflower seed treatment and to high five his teammates, he goes over and and high fives or uh, uh, he interacts with the heckler.
Yeah. Yeah, that guy was right there. I mean, they said, I think I heard Mookie Betts say the guy the whole game, just, and you could hear him. If you watch the game, you go back and watch the game, you can hear him on the on-field mic, just constant barrage. And that he paid $20,000 for that box for all of his friends to be there. $20,000. Wow. But I guess in the end, it's worth it. I mean, the Padres lose, but you got to have a moment with Shohei.
Yep. So when he looked a little, when Shohei came over and did that, he looked a little kind. He didn't really want to look up or around at that point. It's like, okay, and now Shohei is proven to you,
Yeah.
But if that's what it takes, let's get somebody in there all the time to,
Yeah, we get some hecklers.
you know,
It does, they could be paid. They don't need to know it, just
right.
random people, but
Sure
it's
enough.
like paid protesters.
So yeah, like you said, his home run, Dalton Rushing had a huge home
Huge.
run.
Yeah. I mean, in this game, it was like, Freddie Freeman had a home run. That was to tie it at 2. And then it was, like you said, Dalton Rushing had that big home run. Michael Conforto had a walk before Dalton Rushing hit that home run. So, and that's the other thing about Michael Conforto. What do you do? It's like, what do you do with a girl like Maria? What do you do with an outfielder like Michael Conforto? What do you do? Because he's in last in like every category for hitting, among all
Yeah,
baseball
in
players.
MLB period.
Yes, in MLB period. And defensively, it's like he's a good defensive outfielder. He is. He's made some really great catches, but he always seems to come up in those moments. Bases are loaded. There's 2 outs, but there's a guy, there's a couple of guys on. And I don't know what it is about him. He has a 1-year deal with the Dodgers, but Mike Roberts. Who's Mike Roberts? Dave Roberts, his alter ego, is sold on him. Like he's going to keep him in there, and then he'll take him out. And it's like, you need to play. Alex Call needs to be out there, and he'll play. And it's like, oh, Conforto needs to be there. And it's like, but why?
Mm-hmm.
Why is he there? And then the same thing, like Buddy Kennedy. What? It's like, what's that about? I mean, I know why they got him because of, Max Muncy was on the
Well, not only
IL,
Max, but Kike.
KK, Tommy Edman. So I get it. But again, he's like an .088 batting average, 88.
Right.
Just, I don't know. I think for the Dodgers, there has to be a consistency, which I know it sounds, like, yeah, of course, where they're winning series. I think the rotation, you got to do something. Tyler Glass now, I think there was I think it was Fox MLB or MLB had asked, for the postseason, who would you put out in the bullpen? And, a lot of people said, oh, Shohei. But I would even venture to say, maybe Tyler Glass now goes in the bullpen. Because
Right.
hasn't gone. I don't even know that he's maybe 6 since he's been back. I'd have to look, but Snell's looked good. Yamamoto's looked good. Kershaw, I mean, amazing. He's been so good. But there has to be, for the Dodgers, if they truly want to run it back, there has to be a sense of urgency. And because the Padres are breathing down your neck. Before there have been years where they were so far ahead, it didn't matter. But now it's like, do you want to be in the playoffs? And if you want to be in the playoffs, what are you going to do about it? What's going to change about how you play the game, how you manage the game? Because right now I feel like if they I think at this point, they're getting the playoffs, right? Unless they just totally, just fall apart in September. But I remember the 2019 postseason when they played the Nationals, and they just were lackluster. And they're a much better team than to be lackluster. Yeah. So there's some things that need to happen. Kike Hernandez is back. And I think that's a good thing. I think that's a good shot in the arm for the dugout. Also gives Dave Roberts some options. And then Buddy Kennedy, when I saw this, I was like, bye, Buddy. He's gone on to, wherever. I don't know. He's played for a lot of teams. Max Muncy looks like he'll be back soon. So there's some positive things. I think Tommy Edman might be a little bit longer with that ankle. Not exactly sure, because when it's a sprained ankle, it could also be, there might have been a tear or, something. You just never know. So I think there's some things looking up for the Dodgers as we move into the last month of this season. But I do still feel, I don't care what Dave Roberts said. Well, we don't, I don't know that there needs to be urgency. Yeah, there is, because that's going to really determine where you are in the playoffs. I will say that against the Padres, they do have they've won more. I can't think of the name now. The tiebreaker
The
So
tiebreaker, yeah, the tiebreaker
yeah,
goes to the Dodgers.
right. So they have that. But there's the Dodgers, if they truly want to run it back, they got to have some urgency on their side.
Well, I think that, like I said, I don't know why Alex Call's not playing more often. Uh, there was an interesting little piece of information about Alex Call, and this goes to show what people think and what the expectations are from everybody
Right.
about the Dodgers, except for maybe the Dodgers themselves don't have
Right.
this
Except
same
the team.
expectation. But when Alex Call got traded on deadline day, he got a call from the GM of the Nationals, Mike DeBartolo, and said, "We traded you to the Dodgers," and he was like, "The Dodgers," and he mouthed to his wife who was sitting there, "Dodgers," very excitedly, and he said his first thought, "I'm going to the World Series." And why wouldn't you? Based on what
Yeah.
the team looks like, you would expect that, and I think a lot of people think that every year that the Dodgers can make their way to the World Series. So
Right.
the other thing that you were just talking about, the most that he has pitched, Tyler Glasnow went 7
Okay.
twice.
Yeah.
Once against Minnesota and once against St. Louis. He did 6 versus Milwaukee.
Yeah. So, I mean, I like Tyler Glass now. I just think there's something, I don't know if it's necessarily a mechanical thing. I mean, but there's times where he doesn't look comfortable on the mound, like I said. And I think some of it is more mental than mechanical.
Perhaps that's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Dodgers have Cincinnati. They get their turn with the Reds,
Mm-hmm.
and then the D-backs come in, and then they hit the road at the beginning of September. This is the last time that they're going to leave the West Coast. They go to Pittsburgh and then finish up in Baltimore before coming back to play the Rockies. They go to San Francisco. They've got the Phillies and San Francisco at home, Arizona, and then Seattle, uh, and then uh, and then who knows?
Yeah.
So
Who
it's not
knows?
as if, I mean, the Phillies are going to be tough. Um, the Giants could be tough with them, even the Rockies for that matter. They're playing teams though. For the most part, you look at all of these teams. The Phillies and the Mariners are the only two teams uh, out of um, out of the month of September that have winning records. And even then, they've got Cincinnati's got a winning record, and then Arizona is coming in, but they're not. They don't have a winning record. So,
No.
how are they going to play against these teams? They've got some pushovers. They need to be sweeping or winning these series, and building. They leave uh, San Diego uh, tied for
Yeah.
first place, which technically means they are in first place because of the tiebreaker, but they leave there tied. Now, can they take out Cincinnati to put themselves in a position to get some space? And you don't know what the Padres are going to do uh, through that time
Yeah.
frame
I
either.
mean, the Padres are just, I think they're kind of an unpredictable team. I mean, they have this, we saw their starting rotation. Obviously Nestor Cortez, they just maybe San Diego has helped him. But their bullpen has been really good, and I guess you just don't know what you're going to get, and with them, and I think for them too, it's offense, because feast or famine.
Yeah, the Dregs had Seattle this week. Then they've got Minnesota in Minnesota, and the other one was in Seattle. And then they've got the Orioles that they're going to play at the beginning of September. They've got the Rockies, the Reds, the Rockies, the Mets, the White Sox, and then they have Milwaukee.
Yeah.
And then they finish up with Arizona. So they, but for the most part, with the exception of, but they still have to travel a little more. They've got to go to Citi Field. They got to go to the baddest part of town.
Yeah.
And they still have another trip. So they've got more time on the road: Seattle, Minnesota, Colorado, New York, Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
So, but they get to finish at home. But we'll see where the Brewers are at that point. The question will be, have they won their division? And so what will they be doing? You got a player of the week for the Dodgers?
Yeah, I went with, I guess it's kind of unconventional because it's not like he had a good start in Colorado, and then an not bad start in San Diego. Needed some work, but I felt like, I could have gone. I guess, maybe I should go with Alex Friedland, but I went with Yoshi just because I feel like out of all the pitchers in the rotation, he's the one that, well, I didn't say all the pitchers because Kershaw could always pick him all the time. So he's always a player of, he's lately, especially player of the week, but because he's the GOAT. But in these series, I just went with Yoshi. Oh, and in that game on Sunday, he was really excited to see, those home runs because it's like, you give me some run support. Like I go out there, I pitching, and then I get nothing. So he was very animated in his support in the dugout.
Even though he really only did something in one game,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give it to Dalton Rushing because who knows if he'll ever get it again. But he
That's
came up
true.
big, got
Yeah,
that 3-run home run,
that was
and
big.
helped drive the Dodgers to a
I
victory.
like that. Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
imagine if he hadn't done that, and obviously Freddie doing what he did, but Dalton Rushing, they could have easily lost, got swept in San Diego,
Mm-hmm.
and been without or been fully in second place coming out of that to
Yeah.
take on Cincinnati.
Which I think a lot of people thought that was what's going to happen just based on their play, especially Saturday.
I wouldn't have been surprised.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be surprising.
Bullpen cart is all charged up and ready for a ride around baseball. And as always, we started off with MLB Players of the Week.
Yeah, so Players of the Week for MLB in the American League, Vinny Pasquantino. Tano. I like Tano. No, I like Tano.
Like Tano better?
Pasquantino of the Royals. He had a 379 batting average, 6 home runs, 2 doubles, and 12 RBIs over this last week. And then in the National League, we go to the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia Ranger Suarez, 2-0, 2 earned runs, 21 strikeouts, no walks, and 13 2/3 innings pitched.
So just when you thought that the Blue Jays couldn't get any better, they might have. At the trade deadline, they picked up Shane Bieber, who was still on the IL, but comes back. And in his first game back versus Miami, he throws 6 innings, gives up 2 hits, 1 run, strikes out 9. And the the Blue Jays win that game.
Yeah, and he looked really good. I think that's the thing is the Blue Jays, it's Shane Bieber, so you're like, we get Shane Bieber, but he's on the IL. And you don't know how's it going to work out. And yeah, for the Blue Jays so far,
Yep.
he
We'll
looks
see.
good.
I didn't look to see when he's scheduled to pitch next. But yeah, great game. Going going that full 6 and the 9 strikeouts, 1.5 ERA, and so that'll be pretty cool. So you told me that there's been some updates to a past story that we talked about with streaming and the new contracts or new agreements with all of the folks that have been involved in the past and maybe some new folks.
Yeah. So NBC it looks like they're going to get Sunday Night Baseball and the wild card playoffs. But we weren't sure about Sunday morning baseball. Right now, the Roku channel has the Sunday morning baseball, but it looks like that will be coming back to NBC. So they'll have a full day of baseball. And then Netflix still looks like Home Run Derby that they will be doing that. But this is the interesting part for me was they will have the rights for the World Baseball Classic in their Japanese market. I guess they want to expand more in Japan. And so they will, if you live in Japan and you have Netflix, you can watch the World Baseball Classic. I don't know who's going to carry it here in the United States, but in Japan, it'll be Netflix.
Probably
and
Fox.
Then ESPN, this past week, they rolled out their own streaming service, and it looks like a very good chance that MLB TV will become part of ESPN's new streaming platform. ESPN will have access to all out of market games, plus they will have control of 5 teams: Cleveland, San Diego, Minnesota, Arizona, and Colorado. Because those teams, they had the network that was showing those teams. I think those were the ones that were involved in the bankruptcy or the of that.
Bally's
Yeah. So I'm sure that there will be some more, but I think the big one is I'm curious about MLB TV. Because I have MLB TV, but will I have to get ESPN's platform? And obviously, I'm sure the price will go way up for that. Or can you do if you just want baseball? I don't know. I don't know how it's on. And none of these, some of these agreements, I think like next year, NBC, they're going to take over morning baseball. So Roku won't have that, even though their contract, I think, goes through 2027.
So maybe
but a lot of these
2 morning games.
Yeah, maybe those agreements and the rights and things are through 2028, and then they have to, it's kind of do everything again. I think maybe this is good or could be good for Major League Baseball because they have, out of all of the sports, the blackout rules are ridiculous. And so by looking at more streaming platforms, because most people, that's what they use for TV, and could be good. And maybe even this ESPN platform, streaming platform that they have going on, kind of wait and see on that. But I think it's a good idea because otherwise you have to go and get, a cable network or a streaming service like Fubo or Sling or YouTube TV or, Direct TV or, whatever it may be. So it could be a good thing, but I think too, they really need to start working on the blackouts. And will these deals have an outcome on that?
As I was saying, there's some teams that at this time of year, this is the greatest thing that you could ask for because you're playing out the string for this year. So it's wait till next year. And the 2026 schedules have been released.
Mm-hmm.
So now you can start planning out what you think is going to happen. And this year is going to be different than the way it has been. For many years, you had two teams start off the season on a Sunday night. Everybody else started on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And then they went to everybody starting on a Thursday.
Right.
Well, this year it's going to be a little bit different. Beginning on Wednesday, March 25th in 2026, the Giants and the Yankees in San Francisco. The only thing that's going to be weird is that they're going to take the next day off and then finish their series up. And there's going to be a few teams that aren't going to play on Sunday in the first week, the Dodgers being one of them.
Mm-hmm.
The Dodgers start on Thursday, do a 3-game series, and have the Sunday off. Whereas the Angels will start off and play 4 versus the Asterix before they play the Cubs in Chicago. The Angels are going to be in a lot of cold places to start the season. And, it's going to be like, so they've got, they're going to start in Houston, which isn't a big deal. And then they're going to go to Chicago. And then they come home for Mariners, Braves. And then they go to Cincinnati and New York, take on the Yankees before coming back for the Padres and the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
And then they go to Kansas City in late April, which can still be cold.
Yeah.
And then they go back to Chicago to the south side.
Could still be cold.
Yep. So
we've had snow. Obviously not a lot, but we've had snow in May here.
Yeah.
So imagine up north what it would be like.
And then
I don't know.
Yeah, it's, those chances of that happening. The Freeway Series, which was kind of spread out this year, is going to happen in about a 3-week span. They're going to play a couple games on rivalry weekend, May 15th through the 17th, and that'll be at home. And then in the very beginning of June, I think it's like June 3rd, June 5th, 6th, and 7th, they will be at the Ravine, take on the Dodgers, and that's it. Then they're done.
It. They're done. That's it. I think too, I saw this the schedule come out. I didn't think about it, but the 2026 World Cup, is it FIFA?
Yeah.
Their World Cup's going to be held in the United States, so that also played a hand in the scheduling of games. So because they're going to be playing soccer games in June and July.
Right.
So like the Red Sox and the Mariners, they're going to have a double header on the 20th of June because the World Cup is going to be played in Seattle, or the games on June 19th. So they can't play. And then the Rangers, the Phillies, and the Royals will have weekend dates, like where they're off, a Sunday off or a Saturday off, because of soccer matches going on in those cities.
Yeah, they will be also playing in LA at SoFi, which is across town from
Yeah.
the Dodgers. But it will be interesting to see. I have to look and see what the dates were again. But if you look at the Dodgers and see if there's any dates where they're, especially in that June and July time frame, because
Mm-hmm.
they have so many games, and then most of those, like the championships and stuff like that, will be in other places. SoFi
Yeah.
just has a handful of games, and it is North America, so uh, they're playing games in Canada,
Oh, right. North
matches
American. Yeah.
matches in Canada and Mexico as well as the U.S.
So
U.S.
I'm
is not
sure
the
that,
sole.
yeah. I'm sure, I wonder if it would affect the Blue Jays. If, I don't know where they're playing in Canada, if they're playing in Toronto or, where, but that has affected, it did go into, the scheduling of baseball games, which will happen again in 2028 when the Olympics will be in Los Angeles.
Yep.
So that will be another interesting schedule, especially for the Dodgers, because I'm sure they're going to play at Dodger Stadium.
Yes,
Other
that is the
things,
case.
yeah.
And it doesn't look like it looks like the Dodgers, like in June, will spend most of their time on the road in the month of June. There's only one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine total home games.
Mm,
Almost everything else, and the Dodgers will play they won't play the Padres for the first time until May, but then they'll play them once in May, once in June, once in July, and then again in September.
yeah. So, I
And
mean, there's some things about this schedule that kind of go back to how things, this year seemed a little off. Like the Dodgers usually have always ended in San Francisco, and this year they'll be in Seattle, but next year they'll be in San Francisco. And I know that there's also the Dodgers do have an effect on the schedule as well, because they like to be home when it's on April 15th for Jackie Robinson Day.
right, they try to do that for all those teams: the Dodgers, the Pirates for Clemente Day,
Right.
things like that. So they want them to be at home for those games. Yeah, they
In the
start.
I was gonna say in the schedule, Tampa Bay, it looks like they should be back playing Tropicana Field. Should be there, you hope. But they got to get the roof fixed. I'm sure they're working on it. I don't think it's still shredded. I don't know. The A's will continue to play in Sacramento, but they will play in Las Vegas for a week at the AAA Las Vegas Aviators Las Vegas ballpark. And they will host the Brewers and the Rockies in that series in that week. And the All-Star game is July 14th. That will be in Philadelphia, the 96th All-Star game. The Mets and the Yankees will play at Yankee Stadium on September 11th. It will be the 25th anniversary of 9/11. And of course, you have Jackie Robinson Day on April 15th. You mentioned the rivalry weekend in May, Lou Gehrig Day on the 2nd of June, and then Roberto Clemente on September 15th. Those are solid dates. Like Jackie Robinson Day, Lou Gehrig, and Roberto Clemente are always honored on those days.
And then, of course, you'll have the Little League World Series Classic that'll come up in there. And I didn't look to see who was playing that. And uh, I did see, once again, I don't remember who's playing in it, but the Field of Dreams game is going to be coming back.
Yeah, Field of Dreams game will be back. I know that that's the MLB. Those are type of things that they want to continue with, those kind of a special events. But I didn't see Any international travel, like we've had the past 2 seasons, Japan. There is some, right?
W.
Well, oh, right. That's why. So there is international, but I meant like Japan or Korea,
Right.
nothing like
No
that.
early like that because of the World Baseball Classic.
Right.
So
So,
that's why
duh.
there's none of that. So
Right. So,
yeah, you've got the Field of Dreams game is going to be August 10th through the 12th.
and it's going to be the Twins,
Twins and the Phillies.
Phillies. That's right. I knew it was going to be Twins.
I'm sorry, it's not the 10th through the 12th. That's Phillies versus St. Louis, but
Oh.
they are going to be doing that, and it is the Twins and the Phillies.
Yeah.
So, and that's going to be one of the games of their series between August 14th and the 16th. Well, whatever the dates are for all of these games, these special games especially, the last thing you want to do is have any of your best players end up on the wheel. Oh
So, starting in Atlanta, relief pitcher Aaron Bummer is on the IL, 15-day IL with left shoulder inflammation.
That is a bummer.
And then Austin Riley, his season is over. He underwent core injury surgery, had an injury to his abdomen. So he is out for the season. In Baltimore, Adley Rutschman is on the 10-day with a mild right oblique strain.
Ooh. Is there such thing as a mild oblique?
I don't know. That's what it said.
He's out with a spicy oblique
It could be
instead
medium.
of a mild. Medium, mild.
Mild. The Cubs
And
really.
if he's not careful, it could get to be a spicy.
It could be.
oblique
Yes, you got to be careful so it doesn't. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Go up the charts. Cubs Ryan Brazier, relief pitcher, 15-day IL with a left groin strain. In Anaheim, Victor Medeiros is on the 15-day IL, but why? What happened to him?
I don't remember.
Well, I couldn't find it anywhere. He's on the IL.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what it was. They did talk about it. Go ahead and go forward, and I will. I'll look it up and see if I can figure out because I don't remember why. But
And then Nolan Shanuel is on the 10-day, and once again, I think is it his wrist?
yes,
Okay, I got that one. Because sometimes when you're going through, sometimes they say, sometimes it just.
it's a shoulder issue for Medeiros.
Okay, that's right, shoulder.
And then
I
Shanuel
called this
had
one.
the left wrist contusion.
Right, he got hit.
He got hit on the wrist in a game, and then I think he was. I don't remember if he was going for a ball or whatever. He ended up stretching out and aggravated it. He had been trying to play.
Alex Vesia, I called this because I've been watching him pitch. The last game he pitched well, but he's on the IL. I remember I texted you and I said, something's off with Alex. I think he's going to be going on the IL. He has an oblique strain.
How did he get an oblique strain? And
I
didn't know it.
I don't know. It said he felt some tightness in his right side while he was playing catch. He said it just felt tight. So I guess because it's in that area, they just say it's an oblique. And he was proactive and said, instead of not saying anything, he decided to say something. So hopefully his time on the IL will be short because his last outing he looked, it's like, this is the Alex Vesia we all know. But Miami's Jansen Junk. I just like that name.
Former
He
Angel.
has right ulnar nerve irritation.
Mm.
So that's, the ulnar, that's your arm, your wrist. Well,
Well, and that's a lot of that area is where they end up doing the Tommy John surgery.
yeah.
is connected
So
there.
watch him. And then in Milwaukee, Trevor McGill has a grade 1 flexor tendon strain.
Ooh.
So I'm sure he's hoping to that this isn't a season-ending injury, but for the Brewers, this could be a setback.
True enough.
Zach Wheeler,
Yes.
season-ending thoracic outlet decompression surgery. And as I mentioned last week, is not the news that the Phillies wanted to hear, but it is what happened. And
It's the
hopefully
news.
it works out differently for Zach Wheeler. Because most of the time, they're just tough. It's a tough surgery to come back from. In San Diego, Jackson Merrill, he's on the 10-day IL with an ankle injury. And I think is funny is Jackson Merrill is what, like 22?
Right.
20,
Yeah,
22.
he's young.
Yeah. And they always play this clip on, in between like commercials, and they're interviewing and, they're asking about, how he's enjoying playing baseball. And he's like, yeah, I love it. I love playing baseball. Like, just like I was a young kid. I'm like, you are you're still a young kid. You're not old. But anyway, in Texas at the Grill, Nathan Eovaldi will most likely miss the rest of the season with a rotator cuff strain. And Marcus Semien looks like he probably will miss the rest of the season because he has a fractured third metatarsal and a lisfranc sprain in his left foot.
Yeah, I heard during the Angels Rangers series the last couple of days that on Monday they had mentioned he was they'd seen him in a walking boot,
Yeah.
and so I didn't figure he was going to be around. Which oh well, they're not.
Yeah,
Gonna...
I mean, so a lisfranc injury is also known as a lisfranc fracture. It's a foot injury that occurs when one or more metatarsal bones are displaced from the tarsus. So I guess like the main where they connect. It can be mild, it can be severe, but it doesn't look good. And I'm sure it doesn't feel good.
Probably not.
Yeah. And it says that a lot of times, like it says direct lisfranc injuries are usually caused by object falling on the foot, if your foot is run over by a car or a truck, or someone landing on your foot after a fall from a significant height. Then you can have indirect lisfranc injuries, and those are caused by sudden rotational force with a downward pointing foot. So that would be like your rider fell off a horse and your foot got trapped in the stirrup, got stuck. Or I shouldn't laugh, a person falling forward after stepping in a storm drain. So I'm not quite sure what happened with Marcus Semien. It could be the storm drain. He could have been riding a horse. I really don't know.
Maybe he was riding a horse, got
Mm-hmm.
off, stepped in a storm drain.
I think that's plausible. It is Texas after all.
Yeah, maybe.
And then the Mets, Frankie Montas is out for the season with a UCL injury. And that's it for the Will of IL. But I want to mention, I don't know if we need to start this, if this is just, hopefully it's not an every episode thing, but maybe we get the will of suspension, because there's two guys that did very similar things, have appealed. So they're playing, but we'll see. So the Mariners, Victor Robles he was on a rehab assignment in where was he at? Who was he playing against? I don't know. I thought I wrote that one down. Anyway, he's in Tacoma. So they're in Tacoma, and he's during this, and he'd been there for like a week. While he'd been there, he'd been hit 5 times. Now, 3 of those were actual hit by pitches. 2 counted as swings. So really hit 3 times. He throws a bat at the pitcher. He doesn't hit the pitcher, but he threw the bat at him. Then after he gets ejected, he's in the dugout. He picks up a box and of, I don't know, bubble gum or high chews, fruit chews, whatever, throws that on the field and has to be restrained, and they have to take him, down to the clubhouse. So he gets a 10-game suspension and a fine. He has appealed that fine or that suspension, so he is still able to play, and he has been playing with the Mariners.
Yeah, and he has to serve it at the MLB level.
Right. Then first baseman Wilson Contreras of the Cardinals, he threw a bat that hit the hitting coach Brant Brown, the St. Louis hitting coach Brant Brown, on accident, they said it was. And then he, I guess, said some really vulgar stuff, is how the umpire, the head umpire said. He said some really vulgar stuff that was said by Contreras, but also by Ollie Marmol, and they both got ejected. But also they said Wilson Contreras made contact with the home plate ump, so touched him somehow. He gets ejected, and as he throws bubble gum on the field, and he has been suspended for 6 games, and he was fined. And again, he's appealing that suspension, and so you probably will see him playing. But I just thought it was interesting that they both. One was an accident; he threw a bat, but towards his own hitting coach, so that's weird. But he was arguing balls and strikes, but they both threw bats, and then they both threw bubble gum onto the field. And just interestingly enough, Astros signed Craig Kimbrell. I think that's because Josh Hader is still on the IL. And so we'll see where that goes. The Pirates designated Andrew Haney, and the Cleveland placed Carlos Santana on outright waivers. So, okay. And he wasn't really doing poorly. That's what happened. So if a team picks him up, I think they would have to pay his, whatever the rest of his salary is.
Yeah, they'd have to just pay whatever's left of this season. But if they really wanted him, they'd try to get him before September 1st. Because if you get them after September 1st, they're not qualified for the postseason.
Right. And it doesn't make sense. Right.
So, well, it could if you just
need to help
you get through the end of the season.
Right. Depending on what what you need, what you're doing.
That's possible, and even a team like the Dodgers could get a couple of guys like that, and then, if they're still waiting, it looks like everybody's coming back, but that
Yeah.
could be the case. So, and then lastly, as far as your wheel goes, I think we need an honorary wheel for Uncle Ron. Um,
Yes.
our uncle has been going through some health issues, and is in recovery from some stuff that they did. So we're hoping that that'll all work out for him, and that one will just leave stationary until he's feeling better. I don't want him
Yeah,
dizzy
he
before
doesn't
he's
need to
feeling better.
spin. Yeah, he can just be
So,
stationary. Yeah.
all right,
Yes. Get well wishes to our Uncle Ron, who has also played a big role in our love of the game.
sure enough. All right, Little League World Series finished up last weekend, and for the first time since 1996. The team that won, that's the last time that they won it. And I believe you said 8 years since the last time an international team had won.
Mm-hmm.
Taipei, Chinese Taipei, walks away with a convincing win, 7-0 over the mountain representative, the Las Vegas All Stars there. And the Taipei team went 5-0 through throughout the tournament.
Yeah,
How
they
do you feel?
were. Yeah, they were obviously the team to beat. And they, as you mentioned, 1996. That's when they won their first Little League World Series, or since 1996, and 18 titles. It's the most of any country besides the United States. So I thought it was funny that, well, that their coach, I think it was on the last out, their coach comes out and he says, just, to remind the kids to soak in the, everything, enjoy it, that they're kings of the Little League, and just think about all of the girls that will want to meet them when they get back home.
back back as conquering heroes. And
Yes.
then the consolation game was Santa Cruz Aruba versus Fairfield, Connecticut, and Fairfield would essentially take third place overall in the World Little League World Series with a 4-2 victory over Aruba.
And that is watching the Little League World Series going throughout. One thing I think maybe is impressive, but it bothered me as well, is these young kids throwing 100 miles. There was a kid that was throwing 100 miles an hour.
Wow. I
And
didn't see
that
that.
bothered me because that could lead to some injuries down the road, like some major. So, I mean, and we talked about this before, where we're seeing Tommy John for younger and younger players.
Right.
And so, but Little League World Series, always great. If you don't watch it, again, it's like the College World Series. If you're not watching it, you're really missing out.
Sure enough, that's very true. I found myself like, oh, there's a Little League World Series and the Dodgers or the Angels or something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, Little League World Series. Let's see what's going on. I
I
enjoyed
like
those
to.
games a lot better.
Yeah. I like too how they ask them like their, it says their name and then it says like their secret skill. And one kid's secret skill was he can fry eggs. But another kid, his dream job is to be an actuary.
Wow,
I know. I was like, you must be really into insurance.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
But hey,
So always fun. Little League World Series. Congratulations to the Chinese
Taipei.
Taipei team.
And that'll do it for this episode of the Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast. It's been fun talking about baseball, and
Always.
you can find us on our Twitter or Blue Sky account at Sibling Rivalry BB without the A,
And on Instagram and Facebook at Sibling Rivalry BB with the A.
and our website siblingrivalrybb.com. And hit the Fanatics link to get favorite gear from your favorite teams, and help out the show.
Help out the show. And this is just a plug for the University of New Mexico Lobos. They are bringing back the turquoise for football last time they did that in 1979. It's sharp. So go on and get that gear because it's cool. You don't have to be a Lobos fan. It's just cool.
Yeah, sometimes that's what you got to get, just something because it's cool.
Yeah.
All right, about 30 more games as we head down the final stretch of this, the longest season in all professional sports. We'll see if the Dodgers can hold it together. Can the Angels all of a sudden go on some kind of a crazy run? Well, all of that is yet to be seen, so we're excited about that as we head towards October. Go see some live baseball. Watch it on TV, whatever you can do. And whatever you do, don't forget to swing away.